Welcome to Morfanime. I'm your fan of more anime. How's everybody doing today? Because I'm pumped. You know why I'm pumped? Because today's the day that Morfanime hosts the greatest arc in all of One Piece tournament. And right now, I, your referee, will be officiating this tournament. We will be going through the brackets, these 32 arcs that showed up to play from One Piece. And I'm excited to tell you, the fans, what the greatest arc of all time in the One Piece franchise really is. Today we're gonna find out. Tonight, at the end of this video, we're gonna find out. And I let you, the Morfanime maniacs, vote for the greatest arc. And today we're gonna see those results. And we're gonna find out if I, referee, your fan of more anime, agrees with those results. Let's get it on. But before we start, could you please give this video a like, please give it a share, and please subscribe if you haven't already subscribed and become a Morfanime maniac, because today is your day to join. Now, as a little preamble for this tournament, I actually gave you guys, on the community tab, for the Morfanime page, the choice of 4 tournaments. And my options were, as you see here, tag team match, Marine, so strongest Marine, so I would have selected like 16 Marines to go at it. Ladies tournament, so all female characters from One Piece. And best arc, my 4th choice, the choice I made up on the spot because I didn't want to have a choice of only 3. And I couldn't think for a long time what this 4th choice should be, and I was like, you know what, I'll just put best arc and see what happens. I assumed tag teams or ladies would win. I even thought Marines had a chance, but obviously at only 12%. Ladies coming in with a strong 24%, but tag teams, 28%. Surprisingly, best arc, 37% of the vote. And I had to stop. I had to stop building tag teams for my tag team tournament, which I assumed was going to win. And I had to gather all the arcs. I had to figure out how this tournament was going to be laid out. And I figured out 32 arcs from One Piece. 31 of them canon arcs. One of them anime only. The G8 arc enters this tournament as a dark horse, as a wild card. We're going to see where that goes. Let's do this. Let's do the best arc tournament here tonight. But before we get started, let's get some Conquerors hockey on, bruh. Match 1, round 1. We have Romance Dawn, the very first arc, versus Wano, the current arc in the series. I know what you're saying. I know what you're thinking. You're like, hey, Wano's not even finished yet. It's close, but it's not finished yet. So, what are we doing here? How do we compare an arc like Romance Dawn, the very first arc in all of One Piece, the beginning of a grand adventure, the beginning of the greatest fiction of all time? How do you compare these smaller arcs with these bigger arcs? It's really how you feel right here in the chest hole. How you feel in the heart of hearts. What's your favorite arc? And as you see here, 9% for Romance Dawn. I'm ashamed of you guys. It was the beginning of the story. But I understand, because Wano is amazing. The Odin backstory is fan-freaking-tastic. One of the best backstories in the whole series. I was highly entertained, but Wano does have the bonus of all the arcs that came before it building the foundation to Wano, whereas Romance Dawn stands alone. It is where we meet Zoro. I mean, it's before Buggy. You know where Romance Dawn kind of ends, is where he hangs out with Kobe. Kobe, a very important character of the story that we still don't know what he's going to do in the end game. A character that was really Luffy's first crewmate in a lot of ways. And one of the first good deeds that Luffy did was, help him live his dream, become a Marine. It's a sad story. And we got to see Zoro and Zoro's backstory about how his best friend fell down some stairs and died. And I understand that, but I appreciate the old school Romance Dawn art style as well. And I almost wish they would go back to that style a little bit. Just take a step back. Bring it back to, 1999, whenever they made the first episode of the anime. Either way, regardless of the anime, the manga is fantastic from the beginning to Wano, which is a treasure in itself. So Wano moves on to round 2. With match number 2, we have Orange Town, the arc with Buggy the Clown and the dog that protected that store. We got Buggy the Clown, people. We got Nami kind of teaming up with the Straw Hats there. Well, I guess they wouldn't even be the Straw Hats yet. It's just Zoro and Luffy running around causing havoc. I liked Buggy during this arc. At the same time, I looked at him and like, oh no. When he first came back, I was like, is this guy just going to be a nothing gag character? Or is he going to have some depth? And as we all know, he's got some depth. Orange Town versus the Reverie. I believe the Reverie is shorter than the Orange Town arc. It's a very short arc. It's like 5 or 6 chapters. I'm not 100% sure how long the Orange Town arc is. The beginning arcs weren't crazy long like the current arcs are. But the Reverie is pretty short, but it is jam-packed with information that we've always wanted to hear. Things we didn't know were possible. Shanks talking to the Gorosei, the 5 elders. You have Buggy in Orange Town, who is he's a badass who we all love, who used to sail with Shanks, who used to sail with Goldie Roger. He's got so much going for him. One of the greatest characters in all of fiction. But the Reverie, man. The Reverie, bringing characters together we haven't seen in years, including Wapple of all people, and all the princesses, and all the lore, and all the backstories, and Emu, and Shanks, so much. So I understand why this bad boy was also 91% for the Reverie. And only 9% for Orange Town. Where are the nostalgic people in my fan base? We're always picking these newer arcs. But I understand. And I agree here. I agree that the Reverie is better than Orange Town. But it's all perspective, It wouldn't be no Reverie without Orange Town. You hear what I'm saying? But I was highly entertained by the Reverie, and I was highly entertained by Orange Town, but the Reverie has the bonus of building upon all these arcs before it, all this lore, all these mysteries we're trying to solve together as a fan base. So Reverie moves on, round 2. Match number 3, Syrup Village and Whole Cake Island. Check that out here. We have Syrup Village here, 3%. I think this is the lowest any of the arcs get in this tournament. And I mean, it's definitely one of the weakest arcs of all of One Piece. But I liked it. I didn't hate it. I don't know. I don't really hate any of the One Piece arcs, to be honest. Like, I would rewatch Syrup Village. I'd have no problem with it. We get to meet Usopp. God Usopp. But Whole Cake Island, though, we get to see the full backstory of one of the greatest characters in all of One Piece, Sanji. We get to appreciate him more because of that backstory. We get to see him and Luffy throw hands together. We get to see so much. We get to see an emperor's strength from Big Mom. Yeah, Syrup Village, 3%. Whole Cake Island, strong arc, 97%. Wouldn't be surprised if Whole Cake Island made it to the finals. Match number 4 of round 1. This is where the earlier arcs start to build up some momentum. We have the Baratie A, where our boy Sanji began. And then Zoe, another arc that kind of centers around Sanji leaving the crew and heading to Whole Cake Island. I think that the Baratie arc is one of the best arcs in the entire series. Sanji's debut, one of the best of all the Straw Hats, in my opinion. His, serving that guy, that obnoxious guy, trying to drink, the wine and impress the girl, and he's like, actually, yeah, and then he like beats his ace. I respect Sanji, but like I said, Sanji's story is intertwined in the Zoe arc. So I see I really thought this was going to be closer, and I even thought that Baratier was going to move on. And as the ref, if I really wanted to, I could change this. I could go, no, Baratier wins. But, I'm going to stand back and I'm letting you guys, the Morfanime maniacs, make these decisions right now. If it's an egregious vote, then I will have to step in and make a change. But not today. Not right now. I'm not going to die on the Baratier hill. I'm not going to eat my own leg like Chef Zeph when he gave all his food to Sanji on that rock while they starved to death on a rock in the middle of the ocean with no shade. I'm not going to do that. No. I'm going to let the Baratier lose here in round 1. So I'm not against the idea of Zoe winning this. You get to see Beiji be a badass and shoot that lion guy. That was cool. I didn't ever really like Beiji until that moment when I was like, oh, he's ruthless. Match number 5 of round 1. Logtown. Is it Logtown? Yeah, I thought it was Rogue Town. I don't know why. Log Town. Maybe that's how it's it's a weird thing in the anime and the manga. It's like different or some shiz. And then we have Dressrosa. Arguably the greatest arc in One Piece, Dressrosa. Doflamingo, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that debuted so early in the series and was built up and built up and built up throughout and through the Marineford arc into Dressrosa, where he was the king. The king. His battle with Luffy and Law, fantastic. One of the best 2v1s in the entire series. Senior Pink alone wins this arc, in my opinion, because he's so hard-boiled. 90% for Dressrosa. 90%. And a measly 10% for Logtown. The arc that introduced Dragon. Luffy's father. Supposed father. The more I get into the series, the more I'm like, is Dragon his real dad, or is there some kind of cover-up that we don't know about? So we got Dragon's introduction, saving the Straw Hats, seemingly using a devil fruit ability of the storm that just, saved them from Smoker. Smoker's debut. Smoker. A character I could see people saying is their favorite. Not my favorite. He's cool. He's not in my top 10, but he's cool. I like Smoker. I like Tashigi. This is the same arc where Zoro gets his swords. There's some other stuff that Usopp does. He does this little sniping thing in the anime, which is kind of cool. Sanji enters a cooking contest in the anime. A little more happens in the anime. But the Dressrosa arc in the manga, fantastic. Amazing. Such a good arc. We get to see the return of Sabo and the tournament, the first and only tournament in One Piece, happen in front of our eyes, a gladiator-style tournament. We get to meet Rebecca. So Dressrosa wins with 90%, understandably. Doflamingo is one of the greatest villains in all of anime, and I 100% agree with that. His backstory with Law, peak. Best arc, tournament, round 1, match 6. We're going to start busting these out. 33% for Reverse Mountain. Crazy to me. I did not expect Reverse Mountain to be so strong. And I think it's all because of Thriller Bark, and it's all because of Brook's backstory. That is my personal opinion. I did not like Reverse Mountain when I first watched it at all. I thought it was filler. Luffy fights a whale and paints his face, which probably came off by now. It's been years since they last saw him. If he still has that on his face next time they see him, I call bullshit on that. But 33% against Punk Hazard, not necessarily the strongest arc of the New World, but Punk Hazard has its merits. You have Law really making an impact in his new outfit, his new trench coat, him going head-to-head with Smoker. We get to meet Caesar the Clown with the you know that laugh. It haunts your nightmares. But yes, I understand Punk Hazard winning this. I would have lost my shit if Reverse Mountain won this. I might have had to step in and be like, Reverse Mountain isn't going to win this tournament. I will not allow it. I might have let it go past this round, but round 2 ain't happening, son. But Punk Hazard, in my opinion, is underrated from this here. I think it was very fun. I think that Monet was fantastic. Her 2-on-1 versus Tashigi and Zoro was nice. All the personality or body switching thanks to Law, which he needs to use that ability more. It feels like he only had that ability for that moment, for that gag. He needs to start switching people's bodies more. I think that would be hilarious. It needs to be a more common occurrence. But I agree, Punk Hazard moves on to round 2. Arlong Park, one of my personal favorite arcs ever in all anime, not just One Piece, versus Fishman Island. I wanted this pair. This was the only match I pre-prepared for this tournament. Everything else was kind of selected on the fly. This here, I wanted to see where Arlong stacked up with Hody Jones's arc, Fishman Island. Where, you know, Fishman Island, I think, was longer. And I think it had more lore and more mysteries solved for us from the series. There was more mysteries to solve at that point. And more mysteries to, you know, find. We find out about Joy Boy. You know, from the poneglyph there. Then you have Arlong Park, though. One of the greatest arcs of all time, like I mentioned a minute ago. We have Arlong, one of the greatest villains, in my opinion. He's so fantastic. I love his design. I love the whole gimmick. I even love him more because of Fishman Island when you find out that he was oppressed. Arlong was a character that when I first started watching, I thought, man, he would be a sick member of the Straw Hat crew. If you could redeem this guy, if you could redeem this character somehow, even though he killed Nami's mom, so I don't see how that's possible. If somehow you can redeem Arlong, I love Jinbei, I do, but I stand with Arlong. And I'm happy that he won this battle with a 77%, and he's moving on to round 2. Nothing from the villains in Fishman Island made me happy. I can't... The octopus samurai swordsman guy was kind of cool, but I didn't like anybody else. And usually I either like some of the side villains or I like the main villain. And in this one I really just couldn't care less about them. Sadly, and I still feel like Arlong could have ended up as the villain of Fishman Island as well. He could have come back to Fishman Island and taken over during the 2-year time skip, and then when Luffy and the crew show up, he's, you know, plots a plan, and he gets these steroid pills, and he gets all jacked and makes that mistake. But if later on in the series we get to see Arlong redeemed, I'm willing to wait. I believe in you, Oda. Arlong is a character that deserves more screen time. Round 1, match 8. Return to Sabaody versus Whiskey Peak. This will be quick. Whiskey Peak, my favorite part of that whole arc. One, you know, we were introduced to Vivi before that at Reverse Mountain, but we get to see her fight. We get to see her turn from heel to babyface, bad guy to good guy. What a shock, honestly. Huge shock. Didn't expect it. Return to Sabaody, we get to see the Straw Hat crew return and show off their abilities now, their newfound abilities, their new looks, their improvements on physically and, you know, just power-wise when you get to see Luffy take down a pacifista on his own and with no effort given. You get to see Zoro and Sanji team up begrudgingly and take down another pacifista on their own, and I assume they could have done that by themselves if they wanted to. They just teamed up out of necessity. I do like the return to Sabaody, but I love in Whiskey Peak when Zoro fights all of those Baroque Works members that attack him. Like all of them. Miss Monday. I loved Miss Monday, and I feel like Miss Monday could have been used better in the story. I love Miss Valentine. I feel like she could have been used more in the story. I think her design was good. I think her ability of the Kilo fruit was fun for her like little stature. And I liked Mr. 5, the nose-picking booger guy. He was cool. He was actually... I think I like their duo better than Mr. 4 and Miss Christmas. But the one thing I absolutely hate, and it's the biggest sin of Whiskey Peak, is a forgettable fight that I wouldn't be surprised if you forgot about. Zoro versus Luffy that goes down, wasted, pointless. Could have saved that battle for something that made sense, like a tournament or a villain forcing them to fight or something, or some kind of conclusive battle that makes sense. And I see why Whiskey Peak doesn't win, but Whiskey Peak has some amazing moments. So return to Sabaody, very short arc, moves on to round 2. Round 1, match 9, Water 7. Water 7, that's a big boy. Versus the post-war arc. Post-war arc is Luffy's backstory. We get to see Ace's backstory. Sabo is introduced. We get to learn about their childhood. Great and all. But Water 7, son! Water 7! We get to see Usopp fighting Luffy in one of the best fights in the series. Top 5, hands down. We get to see Usopp in one of his best, that is his best fight, honestly. That is Usopp's best fight, and I wish they continued him being the strategist of the crew. They do, sort of, but they never, at least in the new world, he hasn't had a fight where he got to actually be a strategist like he was with Luffy. Like, maybe to lose to an opponent, learn their weaknesses, strategize, build a plan, and execute it, and win. Frankie wins this for me. He's the 92% of this. 92% to only a measly 8% for a small arc, but it's a big arc because we get to see Luffy's childhood unfolded before us. But I understand why Water 7, a tank of an arc, got 92% and moves on. Water 7, arguably the best arc in the entire series. We get to see Nico Robin turn on the crew. We didn't know what was going on. The Sea Train is introduced. Tom's backstory. Do I need to go on here? Round 1, match 10, Little Garden versus Amazon Lily. I loved putting this one together. When I was reading the remaining arcs, I was like, cool, Little Garden versus Amazon Lily. 2 plant-based names going at it. Amazon Lily wins with Boa Hancock. You know why it wins? You know why? Because Boa Hancock is beautiful. The most beautiful woman in the entire One Piece world. And if you put a baby cat in her way, she's going to kick it out of her way, and she'll get mad at you because it shouldn't be in her way because she's beautiful. She can turn people to stone. She loves Luffy. I love Luffy. The fans love Luffy. It all makes sense. I understand. Little Garden's great. We get to meet the giants. We get to start the Zoro-Sanji rivalry. Mr. 3 almost kill Zoro, and he almost turned him into a wax statue. Hilarious peak One Piece humor. I laugh. But at a decent 28%, Little Garden loses, and Amazon Lily wins with a 72%, moving on to round 2. Alabasta versus Thriller Bark. So at Alabasta, we got an 82%. One of the biggest arcs in the entire series. Crocodile, Mr. 2, Bon Clay's big moment against Sanji. Oh, I need to go back and watch that fight. That's a damn good fight. Mr. 4 and Miss Christmas teaming up in a 2v2 with Usopp and Chopper, starting their friendship off. Woo! We get to see Pell make the ultimate sacrifice and then somehow survive. Honestly, that's the biggest sin of this arc. Other than that, it's absolutely fantastic. Then Crocodile and Luffy. Ooh, Crocodile, love him. Thriller Bark. Nothing happened at Thriller Bark. Nothing happened. And it only got an 18%. Nothing happened at Thriller Bark, and it only got an 18%. I would understand if you didn't like it because you don't like Gecko Moria. He's an okay villain, the worst of the warlords, in my opinion. Character-wise, he's kind of annoying. But Perona, and nothing happens in Thriller Bark. When Oars fought the Straw Hat crew, hype team versus one giant creature battle. Fantastic. Loved seeing them team up. When Oars got stuck in the ground and they're like, oh, you're stuck? We better not beat your ass. And then they beat him up and then he gets out and then they run away. Hilarious. Zombie Luffy was okay. But nothing happened And Alabasta wins here with an 82%. And I agree, because Crocodile's fantastic. We get to see Mr. One versus Zoro, one of Zoro's best fights. We're almost done with round 1, I promise. Round 1, match 12. Drum Island versus Impel Down. Easy win. Wobble. Am I right? I mean, Chopper's backstory is sad and fantastic. Chopper's my least favorite Straw Hat, so I don't gotta fight for this guy. I do love the Drum Island arc. I love Sanji and Luffy going up that mountain and then climbing that one when it's people in his mouth and trying to save Nami's life. I love it. I do. But Impel Down, son. They go to the prison. They get to meet all of their ex-enemies and whatnot, all the ex-villains. It's a winner. Solid winner. Easy win. Impel Down, if it didn't make it past round 1, I would have probably had to step in. Because it's a easy round 2 contender. Round 1, match 13, Sabaody Archipelago. The first time we went to Sabaody. Hachi gets shot. Luffy knockout punches the Celestial Dragon. One of the best the best single punch in the entire series, because that guy is a piece of human garbage. We get to see Marineford at a solid 81% going on to round 2, obviously, because Marineford is the culmination of the beginning, which is Sabaody, which leads to Marineford, which is fantastic, where you get to see all of the warlords going at it. You get to see the Marines, the Admirals going at it. You get to see Whitebeard become a legend in front of our eyes. You get to see Shanks make a return to the series, a very short return, but he makes his presence known. Marineford moves on to round 2. This one here, match 14, Long Ring, Long Land arc versus the G8 arc, the only non-canon arc in this tournament, and I was rooting for G8 on it, to be honest with you, but I love Long Ring, Long Land arc, which got a 33%, which is 1/3 of the vote, which is high for for round 1 as a loser. So I like Foxy, I do, and if you haven't watched the Return to Nebulandia movie or TV special, you'll learn to respect Foxy a little more from that. Foxy's battle with Luffy, the boxing fight, fantastic. Usopp being his his side guy, it was great. And fucking Sanji and Zoro teaming up, fantastic. Long Ring, Long Land easily deserves a round 2 spot, but it's not gonna get it because it's going head to head with one of the greatest filler arcs in all of anime. That's the G8 arc, one of the only filler arcs to actually make sense to the story, have a fantastic antagonist, Jonathan, the strategic vice admiral, and then you get to see an undercover Straw Hat in Condil Doriano. But sadly, Long Ring, Long Land arc is out, and G8 non-canon moves on to round 2, and I'm here for it. Match 15 of round 1, we got Skypiea, and we got Jaya. Jaya getting a 31%. Whoa, crazy. Personally, I enjoyed Jaya more than Skypiea first time going through the series. I did. I'm a big Bellamy fan, especially when his debut, when he smashed Luffy's head into that bar, and then Zoro put his sword up to his neck, like almost instantly, without Luffy having to say a thing. I wish Luffy and Zoro beat them up then, but I understand why they didn't. We get to see Blackbeard make his debut. Oh, so good. So good. Blackbeard, seemed like an actual cool guy in that arc, too. And it was like, setting up Skypiea. And I love Enel. And I think Skypiea is amazing. It's a fun arc. But there was a lot of lore to learn. It was one of the longest arcs I've ever read in anime, or manga at the time. But I understand the 69%, 69% for Skypiea, moving on to round 2. Sorry, Bellamy, but you're going down with one punch. Final match of round 1, match 16, Enies Lobby versus the post-Enies Lobby arc. I didn't know what to do with the post-Enies Lobby arc. It's a fantastic arc. You know, you get to see the Going Merry get burned. Very sad. You get to see the debut of the Sunny. Amazing. You get to see Blackbeard versus Shanks. Wow. And the Darkness Fruit and whatnot. But I understand why Enies Lobby moves on. Because Enies Lobby is so good. The villains, so amazing. CP9, they're like a fine wine. The first time you meet them, you think, lame. Then you go, tastes pretty good on my tongue, actually. And Enies Lobby wins this at a 90%, understandably, because it's where the fights happen. You get to see Luffy run into that building and kick Ace. You get to see Sanji save Usopp from Jabra. You get to see Usopp become a sword. You get to see Sniper King in his only arc really make a name for himself and earn his own bounty. I miss that guy. Let's get right into it. Round 2 begins with only 8 battles. Let's get into it. Reverie versus Wano. This is tough. Wano gets an 85% versus the Reverie with a solid 15 for being so short. I understand why it loses. You don't really have the Straw Hats. You get to see Luffy's new bounty and whatnot, but it ain't much with the Straw Hats. You get to see some stuff with the Revolutionary Army, but I understand. So Wano moves on. It's fantastic. Again, Odin's backstory, amazing. You get to learn more about Haki. Zoro gets a new sword. Kaido is a great villain, understandably. Moves on to round 3. Round 2, match 2, Zoe versus Whole Cake Island. These two arcs are right next to each other, but I completely agree. 78% for Whole Cake Island. Oh yeah, we get to meet Pudding. Sanji almost gets married. Fucking Pudding has 3 eyes, which is cool. I got 4 going on right now. Now, Zoe is great. You get to meet Carrot, but Carrot is involved in Whole Cake Island, so you get both. You get best of both worlds here, son. Sanji's extra part of his backstory makes it even better. You just get to understand why Sanji is the way he is, and I love that. Sanji's one of my favorite characters in the series, so I gotta go with Whole Cake Island for sure. 78%, but a solid 22 from Zoe. Fighting it hard, Zoe. Match number 3 of round 2, Dressrosa versus Punk Hazard. Another match between 2 arcs that are right next to each other. Punk Hazard at a very measly 6%, but 94% for Dressrosa. Yeah, I understand. Yes, Punk Hazard has some really good comedy. It has Vergo and Monet in great fights. You get to see Caesar get his ace kicked. But Dressrosa, legendary arc. Moving on with a 94%. Return to Sabaody. I don't know how it made it to round 2, to be honest with you, with all these big arcs. Versus Arlong Park. Easy win for Arlong Park. Home run at an 82%. Honestly, it should have been 99%. The Return to Sabaody is fantastic for what it is, but Arlong Park, people. We got Arlong, we got Hachi, we got Chu, we got that other guy that knows Fishman karate. We get to see Nami's backstory. Round 2, match 5. Water 7 versus Amazon Lily, another easy win. Like I said, Amazon Lily does have Boa Hancock, the most beautiful woman in the entire series, next to Nico Robin. But Water 7 has Nico Robin, and she's very, she's got a big spotlight on her during this arc. It has the debut of the CP9 agent, Rob Lucci, one of the best villains in the series, that still continues on to this day as part of CP0, who actually makes regular movie appearances as well, people. If you haven't watched the movies, he's a very important character, and I hope he does more down the line. than just like guard the Celestial Dragons. Ugh. But it easily wins here with a 95%, crushing Amazon Lily. Alabasta versus Impel Down. This was the closest battle in this entire tournament. The closest. It was at 50% on both ways throughout its entire fight. We have a 48% for Alabasta and a 52% for Impel Down. But it was at 50% right at the end. And I honestly think that I had to make a call here. This is where I had to, interfere as the referee of this tournament. I'm allowing Alabasta and Impel Down to move on to round 3. That's right. There's going to be a triple threat match in round 3. These two are going to move on and take on the Water 7. And they were so close, I couldn't just give it to Impel Down at 52%. Because Alabasta, Crocodile is in both. And he's one of my favorite characters in the series. But Impel Down's amazing, though. We get to see Buggy shine with Mr. 3. But either way, they both move on. We're going to find out who the winner is in round 3. Match 7 of round 2. Marineford versus G8. G8, you came, you played, you won, but now you lost. I'm sorry, you're non-canon. You're peak One Piece comedy, but you don't have the emotional heights that Marineford has. Sorry. Marineford moves on easily. We're here to save Ace. Doflamingo goes head-to-head with Crocodile. We get to see Buggy Future. Fuck, I'm getting tired. Future Warlord versus current Warlord, best Warlord, the man, the myth, the legend, the greatest swordsman of all time, Hawkeye Mihawk. And that was an amazing fight. Marineford moves on. Final fight of round 2, match 8. Skypiea versus Enies Lobby. Like I said, Skypiea does have some lulls, whereas Enies Lobby is amazing throughout. Amazing throughout. I have no complaints with Enies Lobby. I really do not. Luffy storming the castle. Sanji, going head-to-head with Jabra. Nami, kicking Ace, taking down a CP9 agent. The Bubble Fruit. Caulifla Lady. Enies Lobby moves on to round 3. Understandably, it's a tank of an arc. Alright. We only got a few more left, people, I promise. We're going to finish here soon. We have match 1 of round 3. Wano versus Whole Cake Island. 2 massive arcs. 2 later arcs. And to be honest with you, if it was up to me here, at this point in the story, if I made this decision down the line, I would be part of the 16% that Whole Cake got. The losing percentage, because I think Whole Cake as a finished arc is so good. I enjoyed it so much. I enjoyed Cracker and Smoothie and Katakuri. Katakuri, one of the best villains. Oh, his fight with Luffy was so good. But Wano moves on. I mean, we get to see a team up of Kaido and Big Mom. We get to learn about rocks. So, Wano moves on to the finals. Round 2, or match 2 of round 3, Arlong Park versus Dressrosa. This was tough for me. This was tough. But we got Dressrosa moving on to the finals, and I understand. But again, Arlong Park, the greatest arc pre-Grand Line. Arlong Park's a tough loss, but the fact that my boy Arlong made it to round 3 just makes me proud. If he had made it, I should have set up the tournament so that he could make it to the finals. I really should have, because I love Arlong Park so much. I'm going to make so many videos just about Arlong Park stuff. Baratier is when you realize that One Piece is a great anime / manga, but Arlong Park is when you realize it's going to be legendary. But I understand why Dressrosa moves on. It's a fantastic arc. Senior Pink is so hard-boiled. So, and Law, Law's a badass. He earned my respect during that arc. Alright, match 3 of round 3. triple threat. It's crazy how it ended up, being round 3, match 3, triple threat. Whoa! I had to find out how powerful Alabasta and Impel Down really were, since they were basically 50-50 in round 2. And sadly, for my boy Crocodile and Alabasta, even though he does make a big splash, literally, in Impel Down, Alabasta gets a sad 10%. Impel Down gets a solid 21%. It's fantastic. It really is. But Water 7. Luffy versus Usopp. Impel Down and Alabasta goes down in this triple threat battle. In the final match of round 3, match 4, Enies Lobby versus Marineford. These are huge. This might be the biggest fight in the entire tournament. The biggest one. This is the biggest fight. The biggest 1v1 in this entire tournament. And you comment down below and let me know. But I think this is the one. Like the one-on-one, since the finals is a fatal 4-way. I can't believe Enies Lobby lost. Kagu versus Zoro, which is just as good, in my opinion, as Luffy versus Lucci, which is one of the best fights also in the entire series. Like, One Piece really isn't about the fights. It's really about the moments and the storytelling and the, world building. But if you're in it for the fights, Enies Lobby is so good and filled with fights. And I can't believe it lost, but it got a 32%, which is 1/3 of the vote, which is pretty damn good, against Marineford, which was basically the conclusion of pre-time skip One Piece. All right, here it is. The finals. Wano at a 45%. Water 7. 26, Dressrosa at a sad 4. Closest to the bottom, like I said, Syrup Village 3%. Dressrosa was close to tying there. Sad for Dressrosa. After all the tanks that Dressrosa took down, it had a hard road to the finals, and it got a 4? That's what tells me how accurate this thing probably is. 25% for Marineford, so Water 7 only wins by 1%. But if you take Water 7's 26%, and you take Marineford's 25%, and you take Dressrosa's 4%, it beats Wano's 45%. Wano isn't finished, people, and you're voting for it to win? No. Wano might win the Morfanimaniacs vote, the fans' vote, but it does not win my vote, the referee. Not in this tournament. No. To be honest with you, if Enies Lobby was in this bracket, I'd probably choose it due to the amazing battles, the storytelling within, everything behind it. Honestly, Water 7 and Enies Lobby together, to me, is better than the combination of Impel Down and Marineford. Two amazing sagas. But no, I really like Rob Lucci at this point, and I really like Whitebeard, though. Either way, Wano wins the popular vote, but the winner in my heart, the winner of this tournament, according to me, is Water 7. Yeah! And yes, I was leaning hard to Marineford. I really was. I wasn't going to go with Wano. Something that isn't done yet, something that is fantastic, but it can't win. It can't yet. It just can't. Maybe down the line, but it's too new. We need some legendary arcs here, and Water 7's a legendary arc with amazing characters. Frankie's debut, Nico Robin mystery going on. Enies Lobby right after it. Combined, Water 7 and Enies Lobby are a 10 out of 10. Separately, they're both 9s. That's how good they are. My opinion, Water 7 wins this tournament. It made it to the finals, and I use my referee power to make that happen. If you sat through this entire tournament, please comment down below with Banana Boat. Yes, Banana Boat, right? Banana Boat in the comments if you made it to the end, and please subscribe. Thank you. And let's start thinking. Let's start putting some ideas together for the next tournament, because I had a blast here. I really did. I had a blast reminiscing. I had a blast figuring out what the best arc is for me, for Morfanime. And it's Water 7, baby, with a solid 26%. I'll talk to you later.